Live with CDP Sports Talk, a weekly sports and entertainment podcast sponsored by Barry Cullen Chevrolet. Live on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, and LinkedIn. And on audio via Apple Podcast, Google Podcast, Spotify, Anchor FM, iHeartRadio, Amazon Music, Radio Public, and TuneIn. Now, here's your host, Chris Palme.
Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to season 14, episode 24, overall 739 of Live with CDP Sports and Entertainment Talk Show, brought to you by our friends at Barry Cullen Chevrolet Dealership, located at 905 Woodlawn Road West in the Guelph Auto Mall. Please check out their website, barrycullen.com, or you can call them at 519-824-0210 and tell them Chris Palme sent you, or you can email them at info@barrycullen.com. Barry Cullen Chevrolet Dealership has been family run and operated here in the city of Guelph since 1969. Good afternoon, everyone, or for those watching on the West Coast, including my guest, good morning, everybody, and welcome to Live with CDP Sports Entertainment Talk Show on this Thursday, July 23rd, 2026, and I am excited to have my guest on today. This is her first appearance, and she has been in the radio industry for over 25 years in 4 different countries, and right now she's a bilingual radio host, producer, content creator, voiceover, and she's the host of her own podcast show called the TBH with Natasha podcast. And we're going to bring on our guest right now from Vancouver, British Columbia. Beautiful British Columbia, which I've never been to, Natasha Mendes. And we're going to bring her on right now after this applause. Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning, everyone. And thank you so much, Chris, for inviting me on the show. I'm truly humbled. I did not realize, that I could have been a guest on the show, on a podcast, while I've been interviewing everyone all these years. So thank you. Appreciate it.
You're very welcome, and thank you for coming on my show. And I love doing this, and I found my passion 7 years ago doing some volunteer work, doing camera work, and that led to my podcast. And I really love doing this show and connecting with my guests. And every guest that comes on here has a unique story and career, and especially your career. Congratulations on 25 years in the radio industry. That is amazing nowadays.
Once you put it out there, Chris, the way you have put it out there, even on the screen, and you've been talking about it, it made me think about it. And I'm like, oh my God, it's been 25 plus years. That is something. And throughout all these years, Chris, one thing has remained the same and probably grown even stronger. It's my passion for the medium. And I think that has not changed at all in terms of, with the changing landscape and how radio is right now. It still hasn't changed. I still love the medium. So there you have it. It's an eternal love story.
I'm still in terms in this industry of a rookie. This is my 7th year, but I think I've improved and involved. And I was going to ask you as well, how much have you improved and involved over those 25 years, and also doing radio in 4 different countries?
Okay, Chris, now you are being very modest here. You've done about almost 800 episodes on your podcast.
Correct. Yes.
I am an absolute, not even a kindergartner. I'm actually a preschooler, if you may, just done with about 6 episodes. And it's a learning process for me. And for you, you are a pro on that. So we're going to kind of exchange a few ideas on that. But when you talk about my learnings in the last 25 years, how I've grown, Chris, when I look back from the time I started, I was 19, and I was with the government-owned radio station back in Mumbai in India. It's called the All India Radio. At that time, they would take undergrads, and it was such a beautiful platform to learn, the very rigid form of broadcasting. So they had so many rules, Chris. You couldn't say things out of line. You couldn't say things politically. You couldn't say things which would probably offend some random person somewhere in the city. Along with the fact that, we had technology that was not really at that time something to call home about. It was pretty basic, not too bad, but I think it could have gotten better. And then the opportunity to go to the United Arab Emirates, that is where Dubai is. Everyone knows, Dubai is in the news, but yes, I moved there to do a radio show there because we started a radio station. I was part of the team. I didn't start it, but I was part of the team that actually started a radio station there. It was a Hindi radio station, and there again, I thought the learnings were so different. Being in a different country, the technology was different. I saw the kind of programming rules that they had. It was more, it was different, but yet they had, it was different from AIR, from All India Radio, but yet very global in nature. And that was another huge learning curve. Every country that I went to, Chris, taught me something. Back in Hong Kong, everything was curated, everything was monitored. We couldn't air something without it being checked prior. So if we were speaking in a language other than English, we had to give a transcript, a translation of the conversation we've had with our guest, just so to make sure that we don't say anything which is anti-government or, without saying too much. Yeah. And then, of course, Canada happened. And that's another beautiful experience for me. So,
how much did your experience in radio on these other countries help you when you came to Canada or out to Vancouver?
So, Chris, by working in different settings with different radio stations, whether it is a government-owned radio station, whether it is an international radio station. So I was also working as a producer on a morning breakfast show in Mumbai with the only English radio station in the city. And that taught me a few things, to be on the other side of the mic. So we were not even on the mic, right? I was a producer, and this was post my kids. And that's when I had to take a kind of a different role, other than being a radio presenter. So I had to kind of, be happy with being a producer, which was great. It taught me a couple of things. It taught me editing. It taught me behind the scenes. It taught me coordinating with guests, liaising with them, bringing something different to the show. So it gave me a different kind of mindset, other than just being a host behind the mic. Of course, when I look at Hong Kong, it was another great way to stay connected with my passion for the medium. So we used to have a lot of guests who would come in to the city, and we would interview them. So they would be artists, they would be authors, they would be comedians, stand-up comedians who would come to do their shows in Hong Kong. And that was exciting in itself. Canada was a huge learning experience. So you see, Chris, when you live in different countries and you are a radio host, you have to breathe that city. You have to live that city. If you cannot relate to the people, if you cannot relate to the city, you cannot be a radio host who can connect to people. That's what radio is all about. You're connecting to people. So it takes some time. And that's what Canada gave me. That's what Radio Rimshim gave me. It gave me that space to connect with what Canada is all about. The politics, the sports, the people, the culture. It's different. It's different from Asia. So
what? Go ahead.
Yes, so every country or every place has left an imprint on me, Chris. So whether it is Asia, whether it's Hong Kong, whether it is Dubai and its glitz and glamour, whether it is Mumbai, which is the absolute, it's a unique personality in itself. Every place has left an imprint on me, on my personality, on my broadcasting, on the way I think. on the way I approach things.
Wanted to ask you this, Natasha. In those other countries, was radio becoming diverse, or was it still man controlled over in those other countries for diversity?
In terms of diversity in people, or in terms of how many
And
people are manning the controls?
in terms of people and females.
Hmm. I think wherever I went, it was pretty diverse. Yes, because in terms of the female male ratio, yes. In terms of one thing I noticed, that when I started off with All India Radio, we would have someone else manning the controls, but with time, a radio host, and then even the place where I went as a producer for the English radio station in Mumbai, we still had someone else manning the controls. But eventually, in time, I think everything had to be done by the radio host. So you're manning the controls, you're talking, you're probably even being a co-producer on the show, unless of course you have the big budget radio stations. They have a whole team behind them, but we were like a one-man army eventually.
You know what? In a way, that's a good thing, because I know with this, when I started this 7 years ago, nobody helped me out. I had some people give me some advice and feedback, but I find that it makes you more valuable, whether you're in TV, radio, media. Doing the on-air stuff is the easy part. It's the producing, the content creating, the editing video, downloading this to other platforms, just getting out there. So I find it's very important for me, especially, that I wear as many hats as I can. You might not be the best at 10 different things or 12 different things, but it makes you more valuable as a person and an employee, or in my case, self-taught, if you can learn everything you can about what you're doing.
It's amazing, Chris, what you're doing. And rightly said, we're all jack of all trades, right? And master of some. And I agree with you, with the changing face of media and the cost cutting that is, pretty much evident. You need to don many a hat. And when I came to Canada, you did ask me about diversity. I'll just go back to that. When I joined Radio Rimshim and Spice Radio, the person who heads it, my CEO, is the first woman in Canada to own a 24-hour South Asian station in Canada. It's a 24-hour ethnic radio station. I did my research, Chris, before I came here, and I wanted a place, especially when we're talking about the kind of radio that I was doing. And I was kind of skeptical. I'm like, am I going to get a place in mainstream, news stations, radio stations? Probably not. As I said, you need to live and breathe the city before you can really get into the thick of radio broadcasting. So when I got in touch with my CEO, that is Shushma Dutt, I knew that I wanted to work with her. So I emailed her from Hong Kong. I said, I'm coming to Canada. I'm going to be moving there. I'd like to meet you. And fortunately enough, she gave me an opportunity on the radio station, a foot in the door, so to say, which is so difficult, Chris, to get an opportunity in a country like Canada, especially if you're an immigrant, if you're a brown person. It is difficult, and especially if you haven't studied here, right? I don't have a formal education here in Canada. And I still feel that's unfortunately a barrier for me today, in spite of the 25 years of experience that I've had, 25 plus, Chris. And though I carry so much of experience, I feel that if I hadn't had this opportunity given to me, I don't know, I would be doing something else. That would be pretty rough for me, especially since I live and breathe radio and the medium. So,
I,
and fortunately, when we did the morning show, eventually, as you talking about diversity, we were the only morning show in Vancouver, beside another show on Virgin Radio, which had two women hosting the morning shows. So there we go. When we talk about diversity, we were two women, me and my co-host, and there was another show, which was, of course, in an English station, which had all women on the morning show?
We, I know we're on different parts of the Canada and stuff like that, but I think there's similarities to us as well. I'm only been in this for 7 years, obviously, but I've also been told I'm too old, being 54. I've been told you're self-taught. I do have a college degree in law and security, but I've worked my butt off to get opportunities to get guests. Nothing's been handed to me. Even if I went to school for broadcast journalism, you can't just have a piece of paper and say, hey, look at me, hire me. You have to go out and get your opportunities. And opportunities are not easy to get. And whenever I get an opportunity, I take advantage of it. And sometimes you're going to get told no, and you don't take no as a failure. You take it as a temporary setback. And I can relate to you so much, Natasha. In my 7 years, I can relate to you about barriers, being told, no, you can't do this because I'm too old or self-taught or whatever reason. I have a strong mindset and willpower to deter, and I'm very passionate about this as much as you are. I think we're very similar in that regards.
And kudos to you, Chris, because in this industry, if you don't have passion, if you don't have that relentless drive, you won't be able to make it. It is very few of the radio broadcasters are kind of making big bucks, right? And then you're looking at an industry that's being hammered down as we speak. There is so many job cuts happening. There are changes which are happening on the radio landscape, how people are viewing us, how people are listening to us. And in all this, we need to survive. So you reinvent yourself, you be relentless about it, you kind of make those changes, become, a jack of more trades, and learn to do and learn to survive and learn to follow that dream of yours. It's the impossible dream, but it's only passion that will take you there.
100%. And since we're talking about this now, Natasha, since this happened last week, it's been happening a lot in Ontario too, and obviously the West Coast. What are your thoughts on the radio industry shrinking due to the large cuts by Rogers, Bell, and even Chorus Entertainment?
That's it. Chris, same time at this point of time, somewhere in July last year, it was Spice Radio that actually shut down. I was working on the morning show for about 4 or 5 years. It was a show very close to my heart. We had curated, produced the show, nurtured it like a little baby, added so many elements to it. We would talk to whether they were artists, whether they were people in the community, bridging the gap between immigrants and the Canada that we have, educating them about so many different things, about cultures, about changing rules, about different things, that parenting, everything under the sun, what's happening in and around your city. And after all of that, because it was difficult for the station to survive, because we were an ethnic radio station, put at par with the biggest radio stations, we had the same rules. We couldn't survive. It was just impossible. And Chris, you will agree with me that this pack of cards began to fall actually just around the pandemic era.
Yeah.
Right?
That's when I started this. And that's when I started my career switch too, 2020. Definitely. And a couple of stations in Ontario, CHML 900 in Hamilton, was on the air for 96 years, and they pulled the plug on them 3 years ago. Didn't even give them any notice. HR walked in there and told them they were all done. And then recently, last week, Rogers did a number of stations across Canada, including one here near Kitchener, Ontario, 570 News. It's a news station that kept the community updated on things. It was around for 25 years. They did the same thing. They went in with HR, pulled the plug, and now it's dead air. And that community doesn't have a news station.
The same thing with Spice. We were there for 2 decades plus, and Radio Rimshrim has been there for almost, I believe we're going to be 40 years old now. And in spite of all that, we knew that it was coming, right? We were not blindsided by the fact that it's going to be the end of this someday. And fortunately, our CEO kept us abreast about it. But yet, because we love the medium, we ran with it to the very end, Chris. And when it did happen post July 2025, the next 6 months were some of the most difficult months for me. I went through a major depression. I went through something that, as if a part of me was no longer there. And my heart goes out to the 230 people who have lost their jobs with Rogers axing those 6 radio stations, because I've been through it. It's not easy. You love your job. You're there every morning at 5, 6 in the morning because you love it. And then you don't have it anymore. You don't have that platform to create, to share your thoughts, to learn something from other people, to exchange ideas. You don't have that anymore. And we're creative people, right? So it was rough, the 6 months post the closure of Spice Radio. But well, business was already suffering, Chris. Post the pandemic, not only in Canada, because I still have connections back in India, the business started suffering there. So in
It's
India, if I
so
can
it's
give,
shrink so it's shrinking in India too.
yeah, so let me tell you how it was working there, and how it's you will find the parallel to be drawn even here in Canada. So in India, we have Hindi as the as a major spoken language, especially in some of the major cities. You also have some South Indian languages, but Hindi is primarily spoken there. Then you have English, which over there would be a kind of a smaller population, right? It so happened that eventually they had started post the pandemic, where each city had their own individual radio hosts, own individual shows. They started having it aired from one city. So you have a host or two broadcasting from one city, say Mumbai, and that show would go on to be broadcasted in 7, 8 other cities. So you're economizing, you're cutting down on cost, you're cutting down on local news, absolute local news. That is the first indicator, Chris. The moment you see that happening, you know that something is going to go down. So this is what happened here in Canada as well. You had probably each city or each province, each city having its own radio shows. And then suddenly you see that one particular show from, say, Toronto, or one particular show from Vancouver is being broadcasted everywhere else. How can someone in Toronto understand what people in Vancouver are feeling or thinking, or the businesses in Vancouver? How will they relate to it? They cannot. You're losing out on local stories. You're losing out on local businesses. Our local businesses need our help. The big guys don't need our help. They have Facebook. They have Instagram. We have to cater to the small businesses. We're going to lose out on them. We're going to do an absolute injustice to them when we remove the voices that would give them a platform. And this is where I see is, how the cookie crumbles. So first you have one radio station broadcasting to 6 others, and then eventually it's, it leads to the shutting down of it eventually, yes. So case in point, the radio station that I was working for, the English radio station, just shut down about a month ago. And it was heartbreaking because we still have listenership, but now we don't. It's just the economics is now working. It's the business angle. So whatever's making them money, that's what's working. So people who love English music in India, and there's quite a few of the population. We speak in English as our first language, if you may. We don't have an English radio station.
Natasha, do you see more shrinkage occurring in the near future in terms of more reduction of stations? And how much has the internet and social media platforms, including what I'm doing, has reduced the traditional radio station down now?
I was going to come to that, Chris, because the most heard counter argument against radio stations is the fact that, hey, who listens to radio now? People are tuned into Spotify. People are tuned into this phone. Everything is here. We don't need a radio station, and especially AM. Oh my God. we should have known, right? It also doesn't help that the regulatory bodies don't kind of give a kind of a cushioning or make it any easier for the AM stations or the smaller radio stations or ethnic radio stations. It's the rules are pretty much the same for everyone. It's difficult to survive in today's times. Today's, especially the financial situation that we are in right now, the economic situation that we are in right now, it's going to get even difficult, even more difficult. So uh, I guess it's yes, of course. You're going by that argument. We're going to see that radio is going to be evolving into a more digitized format. Is that what I'm going to look at it in a way? It's all going to be on the internet eventually. But at the same time, my only concern is how do we keep local news, local journalism, local businesses? How do we keep all that alive?
That's a good point. But I know I can't speak for other podcasters or people on live streaming, but I try to make this show very diverse. Like I try to do international shows, but I also try to get local guests on my show too. So I'm doing my best to make sure this show is fully diverse for everybody's background and topics and subjects as well. So you make a really good point about that too. And also some people like listening to the news for the traffic and the weather reports too.
Absolutely. Now I know that you have a sponsor for your podcast, which is so cool. It's the Chevrolet showroom in Guelph. So when I get there,
Barry Cullen Chevrolet dealership in Guelph. They've been a part of this show for 3.5 years. So I'm trying to get more companies to see what I'm doing because I am on 22 different platforms and my show is growing. So I'm trying to get other businesses to understand that live streaming is kind of the new form of radio. I don't think radio will ever die. I just think it's going to evolve eventually on to live streaming, in my opinion.
I agree with you, Chris. And again, a big shout out to your sponsor, Barry Cullen, for supporting you. I think that's
Yes.
amazing. We need local businesses to support local journalism, local broadcasting, because at the end, Spotify is not going to take your case. Spotify is not going to talk about your business. Spotify is not going to talk about your stories. Spotify is not going to talk about the people, the local heroes in your community. You and I are going to talk about it, Chris. And we need support from people like the folks at Barry Cullen, right? So, I mean, I really appreciate what they're doing to keep this local journalism alive, which I think is a cause very close to my heart. When I came into Canada as an immigrant, you feel lost. You feel like this is a new environment. Of course, I've traveled around the world, so it was not like an overwhelming feeling. But yet, I want to know more about this country. I want to know more about Vancouver. How do I know it? It's only when I hear local stories, people, issues. That's when I get into under the skin of the city, right? It's only when I hear about it. We don't even have newspapers anymore, Chris.
No, the newspaper industry has shrunk too.
Yes. So my major concern here is, of course, the loss of jobs. We have 230 people vying for the same job I want now. Right? It's already been such a tough search for me to get into mainstream radio. I feel for everyone. We're all part of the same tribe, and especially if you really are, working for a cause. Every single story that we took up was to educate, was to make a difference in someone's life. I couldn't do that anymore, and that's when, Chris, I decided to take matters in my own hands. I said, okay, this is not happening with any other radio station. I'm going to start my own podcast. And that's how TBH, to be honest, with Natasha happened. Of course, it's a learning process for me because being behind the mic is different. Being in front of the camera is completely different. Yeah. So you tell me, I mean, when you started your podcast, you must have had so many surprising elements that cropped up during your first few episodes, isn't it? Because for me, it's been like blood, sweat, and tears.
When I first started this show up 7 years ago, I wasn't even on this StreamYard. I was on Instagram Live. I was just broadcasting on Instagram Live. I wasn't very good. I was scripting everything. I couldn't get guests on, and I had a friend from TSN, Pat Gregor, who watched me. He said, "Chris, you can't be doing this scripted. You gotta talk to people like we're doing now, natural conversation." And I kept at it. I kept doing it every day, getting better, relying less on a piece of paper and notes. And finally, I got one guest on, an actress, female ventriloquist from LA. She came on, Christine Barger, and then eventually I got onto StreamYard, and I've now done 850 episodes, over 1,600 interviews virtually and in person. And every time the traditional radio industry, TV industry says I can't do something, I go ahead and learn it. So I can do in-person interviews, I can do virtual interviews, I can do game night stories for these sports teams. I'm not the best writer out there, but I just try to get out there, and I love what I'm doing. And I tell anyone that's getting into podcasting or you want to get into radio, don't worry about the numbers right away. Just worry about having good shows, and doing solo shows for the first 4 months was really good for me. And also, I was in security for 24 years, and in security, I had to work in a casino, in a racetrack. I had to deal with all walks of life. I had to learn to deal with people with substance problems, alcohol, drinking issues, people with gambling issues. I had to learn how to talk, listen, communicate, think on my feet, and I think interview people. I think that career kind of prepared me for this. But when I started, I wasn't very good, but I didn't give up. I kept doing it, kept doing it. I got some advice from a friend, and then some of my guests came on. They gave me some advice, like not criticism, just advice. And I asked questions too. Don't be afraid to ask people questions as well. And I try to pay it forward. I had some people in the media profession I never thought would come out on my show, and they came on. I reached out to them, and now I do the same thing with other people, younger people, older people that want to get into this, and tell them, if you really want to do something with this, you have to put in the work. People think, well, he does this podcast live streaming from home. It's more work than my other job. I put in about 80, 85 hours a week with my 3 talk shows and my CDP media productions company. And if you checked out my content on IG and all my pages, I'm always posting something new too, by the way.
I agree with you, Chris. And when you're talking about even a reel of a minute long, you spend at least 45 minutes to an hour editing that reel if you're adding some elements to it. Unless you're, of course, going with just a plain talk and you're putting it out there, that's different. But if you're putting elements to it, like I've started something with my boss, CEO, and mentor, Shushma Dutt. We've started a new thing called Hindi Ki Pathshala. It's just a funny segment delving into the grammar of the Hindi language and, reaching out to the younger generation. But even for that, Chris, it is so much of work that goes into it, the behind the scenes, that sometimes I'm up till 12 doing that, editing it, adding elements to it. So yes, it's a lot of work. And if you're talking about something like a podcast, getting the guest, getting through the technology that we have, probably a crazy internet connection. Can I share with you something? Like, I
Yeah.
have the worst first show ever. My first show.
No, me. I had the first one. Mine was bad.
Let's
Yeah.
hear yours first. I'll tell you mine. I think I can beat you to it. Tell me, what was your first show like?
I wasn't very good. Like I said, I had the actress Christine Barger on, actress, female ventriloquist, and my first show, it was on IG Live, and I was just looking down at a piece of paper instead of eye contact and stuff like that. It's okay to write points and notes down, which I do now, but I just was looking down at a piece of paper, reading prepared questions, and it could have been better, but you know what? It was a learning experience, and you have to start somewhere. And to get better, you have to start at the bottom and work your way up, and you can't give up. And yeah, I learned from that, and I think I've evolved from that first episode to now 850 later. And I tell people that too. When you start something brand new, and I was raw on this, you got to start somewhere. And thankfully, I had people that were watching me and would give me some feedback and advice, and I would apply it.
And after 850 episodes, Chris, are you now cool under pressure as well? So the internet goes off. You're like, Natasha, it's okay. We'll be back. Just
A,
stay
a
cool.
couple a couple years ago, maybe not, but now I don't panic. I even had one show 2 months ago. I had three guests on from Saskatchewan, the Western Medicine Band. They're a country music band in Saskatchewan, and I had everything ready to go. And the show started okay, the first 30 minutes, and then I got booted off of StreamYard, and my guests didn't panic. They just kept talking, and I got myself back on. I didn't freak out about it, and we laughed about it, and we did the rest of the show. So yeah, it happened where I got booted off. It was out of my hands, technology, and my three guests, they kept the show going until they knew I would come back, and we roll with the punches. And you have to do that too. And I've learned that too. When I first started, I would panic and stress out, and now it's no, things will get fixed, and it's not the end of the world. It's not life and death.
And Chris, for all your podcasts, you do it live, or do you have any pre-recorded podcasts
It's
as
all
well?
live. It's all live. It's always been live with
Wow.
CDP. CDP are my initials, Chris David Palme. But yeah,
Yeah.
now you know my secret. But it's always been love, and I love it. I am so comfortable being on the camera. Not complacent, but I'm comfortable. And I'll tell you this: for many years, Natasha, when I was younger, in elementary school, high school, even college, and even maybe 20 years ago, I would shrink in the spotlight. And now I'm very comfortable talking in front of high school kids at schools that I do volunteer work as a career speaker, and coming on with my guests. I think my career in security really prepared me for this because I had to deal with a lot of the public and had to deal with all walks of life and different situations. And I just talked to you like we're at a coffee shop right now. And good conversation, natural conversations. And I do write down notes and points and that for my shows, but I don't want it scripted. And I've learned that. So some of my guests that were in this profession long before me have really helped me out. And now I tell younger people or older people that want to get into this, I pay it forward.
When did you realize, Chris, that this was a turning point for live with CDP? This is like, oh wow, this is getting somewhere. Because as you said, don't chase the numbers, but at some point it starts gaining traction. So do you
Yeah.
have like a high point in these 850 shows?
When I got on to WQEE 99.1 in Georgia, it wasn't in person, but it was remotely. Somebody from the States was listening to my show, Ryan O'Neill. He's a station manager, and he really liked my work and the fact that I had an advertiser sponsor for my show. So he gave me an opportunity, and I was on their radio station remotely. It's not the same as radio, but I was doing it remotely from home for 2 years, and I was on there Monday to Friday, 8 p.m. to 9 p.m. time slot, and I loved it. But unfortunately, I saw the cutthroat part of the media industry where the owners of the station decided to downsize the station, and my show got taken off. The station went under, and now I'm just continue to either get back on the radio or to continue to build my own brand. And I just I have people now coming to me to come on my show, and I'm very lucky. And I'm just very lucky and humble and hungry. Whatever you do in any career, humble and hungry, and don't ever get complacent. If you start getting complacent at something, it might be time to move on as well. And I'm still a work in progress. I still make mistakes and stuff like that, but you only get better by learning from them.
Wonderful. And just sharing, I know we left off at that. The worst thing about my first show was that the internet from my end was lagging behind because we had a thunderstorm the previous day, and that particular room was not picking up the Wi-Fi signal as well. I had to redo, and it was with a very big stand-up comedian from India. I had to redo my entire part separately, and it was brutal, Chris. So there we go. I kind of thought that was like, the end of the bad omen, but then eventually every other episode taught me something new. So I've got like a book of, checklists right now. So yeah, I'm getting there.
And you're gonna go through all kinds of situations as a podcast host too, because technology, it's great, but sometimes the weather or you can have a power outage. I've had that before where I was doing a show and all of a sudden my power went out, and my guest sent me a text and I'm like, hey, my power went out. We're just going to have to wait until it comes back on. If not, reschedule. And sometimes too, I've only had to cancel 2 shows in 8 years. I had food poisoning and I had the flu, and the guests were understandable. I've had some guests too cancel on me at the last minute. I ideally ask them to try to give me 24 hours notice, but sometimes emergencies happen. So sometimes guests have to cancel. You just have to reschedule with them. And if I have to cancel, then it's up to me to reschedule. But I find if a guest cancels on me for whatever reason, I let them get back to me about rescheduling. That's how I work it.
Wonderful. Points to be noted, Chris, from you. A few learnings here as well. I really appreciate you sharing that with me.
And I'm still a work in progress, and I'm just trying to learn from all my experiences too. And when you book guests, you got to be flexible, accommodating. And also too, I've had guests on from 10, 12 different countries, even one from India the other day, Professor Rashana Shabordi. I'll have to send you
I
the
did
link to it.
see that. I did see
She
that.
she came on and she was nervous at the beginning, but then she just had a great conversation with me for over an hour. I learned a little bit about India and about herself and the time zone. She was like 14 hours ahead of me. So I would tell you this too, whoever guests you get, don't assume they're on the same time zone as you. I've had to learn different time zones as well. And you have to be accommodating, flexible, and also do your homework on your guests too. I always print out the bios from each guest and read up on them and try to learn something different about each guest.
Wonderful. That's great. That's great points to remember, Chris. I appreciate it.
You have a lot more experience in this than I do, so I would like to pick your brains as well about the radio and the radio as well. And can you just tell our audience a little bit about your current role with the radio? Was it Ram Jam Ham?
Rimchim, radio
Rim Jam.
rimchim. Rimchim
Ram
is
Jam.
like the sound of rain. It is one of the oldest radio stations we have here. As I said, it's about 40 years old, and it is by subscription, so you can get it on. It's on your iTunes. It's called ITMB apps. So you download it, you can get Radio Rimshim, which is mostly a lot of retro Hindi music. And I host a show called Aapki Farmaish, which means your requests. It's between 3 to 5 Pacific Standard Time. And people call us up from Vancouver, from from Alberta. So we have a lot of Calgary and Edmonton listeners who call in because they have these radio sets which they listen to us on. But if you have the app, you can listen to us anywhere in Canada. And again, it's the ITMB app. You can download it from iTunes. And yes, people request for songs. So it's absolutely interactive. We have listeners, Chris, who are 80 years old, 82, 85. They're old. They've been listening to us for all of the 40 years, Chris. They have been loyal listeners. I will not get listeners like that, or I haven't seen any listenership like that in all of my career. They love you. They call you every single day. They are devoted to the radio station, and they do not want change. So they do not understand the mobile, they do not understand the internet. They switch on the radio, and that is their respite. So we have a few younger listeners as well, like in their 20s, but mostly they're 50 plus listeners who love retro music, and they're absolutely wonderful. I am so blessed to have them. The love that I get from them is unparalleled. They write letters. Can you believe it? They write letters. In today's day and age, I recently got a letter.
Wow.
We get food. Like someone sent us pickles the other day. They love us. So it is a different kind of listenership, Chris. And I'm fortunate to have started my career on Radio Rimchim in Canada. And then I moved to Spice Radio, which was the sister station. And I did the morning show there. And then now, since Spice Radio is no longer there, I'm back to doing the show on Radio Rimchim. And I also do a 2 to 3 show with Shushma Dutt, who is an icon She has been honored with the Order of BC as well, and she's an absolute. She's okay. Talking about age and how you can, age is just a number. She is 80 years old, Chris, but she is adept with AI. She is a go-getter. She is open to different ideas. I throw at her some idea and she's like, okay, Natasha, let's go. And we collaborate, we create, because we both are passionate about what we do. She has been a TV host. Before that, she's been on BBC. So yeah, she's an absolute inspiration, Chris. So are you, because age is just a number if you want to start off anything. It shouldn't even be something. You want to do something, do it now. As the younger generation say, YOLO, you have one life to live. You only live once, sorry.
And you want to grow and not shrink.
Yes, absolutely.
Except for my waistline.
Yeah, only that, yes.
Yes. So
if that's bothering you, that is.
By the way, you've inspired me. Now I want to write you a letter. I want to write a letter. I want to do it. I haven't did that. I haven't written a letter in probably a couple of decades. I'd like to write you a letter to see if I still have the writing.
Everyone should start writing letters, even if it is to their loved one, their spouse, their children. It's such a beautiful way to express yourself. And yes, people have forgotten how to write. The cursive handwriting.
Do you feel communication skills and empathy have kind of shrunk too?
Okay, so when we talk about the new generation, right, their language or their you need a new dictionary to understand them, right? So when someone says, Chris, you're sick, it doesn't mean it's a bad thing. It means you're really good, right? So
yes.
In terms of understanding the newer generation, I'm talking about the alphas, yes, it is kind of changing, but I think they're I wouldn't want to kind of dismiss it as being less empathetic. I would really want to be hopeful for the newer generation. I don't want them to be, assuming that it's okay to not be empathetic towards people. But it just depends. I don't want to dismiss the newer generation, no.
Do you find attention spans are diminishing?
I to that. Absolutely. And this goes across generations, Chris. It's not only the young people. If
Include me.
It could be it's me and it's you. We're watching something, it's too boring. Click, flip, 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 flip. We're flipping channels. We have you and I have been in a generation where we had curated TV programs. Yes or no?
Yep. Yes.
We didn't have the internet. We probably had that dial-up, right?
Oh yes. Oh yeah.
Remember that?
Yeah.
So it was sparingly given to us. Today we have different OTT platforms. We have probably thousands of films to watch, options to watch. But how much time on a weekend, that is if you're like me and you get to watch television on the weekends, how much time do you take to select one particular movie or a program or a TV series? How much time do you take on a given evening?
Seconds. I just look at a channel. It's like either I watch it or I don't watch it. It's like boom, boom, boom. It's like with TikTok. If I'm on TikTok, I scroll and I see a video that catches my attention, I'll stay and watch it. But if it doesn't catch my attention within seconds, I just scroll to something else. I admit it.
I am guilty as hell because I take about at least 20 minutes to find a perfect movie to watch on the weekend. Because I have so many options. So I go from Amazon to, no plug to them, but from one OTT platform to the other, unless they want to sponsor you, Chris. So I switch so much. But you're right. When you talk about platforms like TikTok or Instagram, if you do not have a hook within the first 3 seconds, Chris, you have lost your audience.
Bingo. Exactly. And by the way, I joined TikTok 5.5 years ago, and I thought, oh, one of my good friends he was a podcaster in the States. He said, Chris, you got to open up your settings to public, which I did. But he goes, you got to get on TikTok. And I'm like, I'm 47, 48 years old. This is ridiculous. It's for kiddies, high school kids. I had all these preceptions, and I said, okay, I'll join it. And you know what? 5.5 years, I've learned how to cut promos for myself, my guests. I've learned how to create content. It's really actually helped me with a lot of my media skills. The only negative thing about TikTok, it is very political. So I tell anyone, if you're going to use TikTok, use it for good purposes. Use it for your career, for your work. Stay out of the political stuff because there's a lot of it on social media, and I just don't want anything to do. I want people to watch my content and actually enjoy, smile, and learn something, and not get stressed out or angry over it.
I agree, and with X, I have had it's almost like an X to me. I have kind of stayed clear away from that platform. And when it comes to TikTok, my only grouse is that you have anybody and everybody kind of following you. It's a little bit of it's a little daunting for me. So
Yes.
I have to filter a lot of people. I'm not too comfortable having on that platform. That's my only issue. So I'm still dabbling with TikTok, though I've got some nice videos which have gone very popular. Especially the one where I go to Costco and I say, okay, I'm going to spend only $100. But beyond that, I don't dabble with TikTok as much as I love Instagram. I love that platform more. Facebook, Chris, do you think Facebook is losing its relevance, or is it really assigned to one generation?
I think it's still there, but I think for the younger generation, I think Facebook is kind of shrinking. But I think for the older generation, I think Facebook's still there. I don't know if it's as popular as it used to be, especially with the younger generation, but I think Facebook is still there. Probably for the older generation. I think now Instagram and TikTok are where it's at. The IG and TikTok.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I know I kind of try to keep my Facebook page alive with stuff going parallel on both the platforms, but Instagram is more, I mean, it's more active, so to say.
I want to give a shout out to we have a number of viewers watching. Robbie and Tanya are watching on Facebook, and I have a future guest and author, Carlene Lee, watching on Instagram Live. Genevieve, who's out in the Netherlands, is watching. George Brown, who's in St. Louis, Missouri, is watching our show, and Uncle Pledge, who's in Cambridge, Ontario, is watching our show. So that's what I love about this show too. It's not just a local show; it's an international show as well.
That's beautiful. And if any of them want to comment on the radio situation back in, where they are from, it
Yeah.
would be great to know what you have to say. Have things been changing? Are you still tuned into the radio? If not, to why? And what are you tuned into at the moment? Do you miss radio? Do you think radio is dead? Yes, you can probably comment as well.
One thing we didn't mention is satellite radio, and I got to be honest. With my new vehicle, they took away the CD player, and now a lot of the radio I listen to is either satellite radio, Sirius XM satellite radio, or I listen to Spotify and other podcasters. So I
Yes.
have to admit, I used to listen to a radio a lot back in the 70s, 80s, and 90s and early 2000s, but now with satellite radio, you can get whatever station you want and Spotify. So my radio listening has kind of diminished too over time.
So, Chris, I know. I mean, it's. I mean, good you mentioned this. So, is there anything that you miss about local radio when you're tuned into satellite radio, or are you happy with what content you get off that?
I like satellite radio, don't get me wrong, because it's got some of the
Mhm.
stations I like listen to, but local radio, you used to get local guys that cover the local teams and you get to know them. You felt like part of a family, but now it's really changed with the radio diminishing and the older people too. I used to listen to the people that were my age or older, and now a lot of it's younger generation, and it's kind of hard for me being 54 to relate to somebody who's 22 on the radio too, which is not their fault. You have to start somewhere, but it's just for me, I kind of like the people that are around my age on radio because I can relate to them more than somebody that's in a younger generation.
Okay. And with live with CDP, Chris, so where do you see yourself in the next? I know you've already done a couple of years now, but did you have a vision for where you want to take this talk show?
I want to take it and keep building my brand and marketing. I have over 27,000 listeners now on Spotify, which to me is a lot. I know it's not a huge number, but to me it's a win. And always celebrate your wins, no matter if it's big or small. And then I have over 800,000 viewers on YouTube, so I'm just want to keep building this brand, and I've been very fortunate. And one thing I would say too, and you know this being in radio for 25 years, be yourself. Whether you're on a podcast, live streaming, you're on radio, if you be somebody that you're not, the audience can tell fake people and fake and not sincere people. You want to be yourself whatever you do, and you get more people are come to you more when you are yourself.
And Chris, the my first interaction with you, right from the first interaction with you, has been an interaction of warmth. You're absolutely easygoing. You make me feel comfortable, and I really appreciate it, Chris, because you are right. It's part of being a radio personality. You can only fake it till a certain limit, but after that, it's really what you are, and your personality comes out. And you want to connect with your guest or your audience, you need to be real.
Absolutely. And also, I forgot to mention this too. With my show, it's normally an hour long, but if a guest can only give me 15 minutes, I make it work. If they can give me 20 minutes, they make it work. It's being flexible too. So whatever time my guest can give me, I've done a couple shows where it was 2 hours because my guest was having a really good time with me and our conversation was going well. So I always make sure I communicate effectively with my guests before they come on. And if they want a Google call, Zoom call, or a phone call, I try to do that to make it easier for our show so they get to know me more and more sense. And my show is not about me, it's about my guests. And I'm not here to provide shock value. If a guest has a certain subject they want to stay away from, politics, religion, which I stay away from anyways, I let them know ahead of time too. My job is to make my guests comfortable and want to come on here and share their story. It's just like we're at a coffee shop having a coffee and a donut right now.
Yes, I can see that. It's a very easygoing conversation. And you've come a long way, Chris. You said that your first show was all scripted, but this
Yeah.
definitely does not look like it at all.
No, no.
There's and you're right. Being consistent is the key, and learning from your mistakes is equally important. And that's something I will take with me today, because as I'm going forward with my TBH with Natasha, I envision it to be a live show just like yours, where I have my guest on in lifetime. I love live shows, Chris. I love live radio. I think I just have to switch my mind to, have it live streamed. That's the only switch I need to do. But that's where I envision that podcast to go, and someday have it in studio. I mean, I have a huge dream for that one. I hope to make a difference with the stories I bring to people, and they're mostly stories which are related to human interactions, right, and human experiences. I'm not very good at sports, Chris, so that's not my
And
forte.
that's the one thing I might rebrand myself because I've had some potential guests like, oh, it's live with CDP Sports and Entertainment Talk Show. And I said, yes, but it's not all sports. Like when I first started this 7 years ago, there was a lot of sports and I love sports, but I don't want to be stereotyped as sports only. So eventually I'm going to probably change this to the Chris Pame talk show because people see a certain word and they're like, oh, sports, that's it. I can't come on. And I'm like, no. And then when they check out my YouTube channel, they're like, holy cow, you're not just sports, you interview anyone. And my show is a welcoming platform to anybody. I don't care about your background, male, female. I've had transgender people on my show. I've had the LQT community on my show. Anyone that has a story and wants to share it on my show, it's a welcoming platform. And I'm most proud of it being very diverse too.
And Chris, when you just started off your talk show, you had a couple of naysayers, right?
Yes, you get that? Yep. One of the producers from the cable company I worked at, he smirked and laughed at me, and I've had some people that I knew that kinda, "Okay, Chris, whatever, this is a little project." And I said, "No, I'm gonna do this." And, you gotta block out the noise, the naysayers, the haters, you gotta block out your noise. And in media, you have to have thick skin too. I'm sure you know as well, Natasha, not everyone's gonna be your cup of tea or you're gonna be their cup of tea. Gotta block it out and also be a professional too. And sometimes people will troll you on social media to try to get a response out of you. Sometimes a no response is better than actually doing a response. So I'm just learning all the time.
Wonderful. And I wish I had, done this a long time ago, like maybe 2 years ago. But from the last 6 months that I've started being very active on my Instagram, Chris, um, from my 600 followers on Instagram,
Congrats.
I'm now reaching 1,800 or 900, I'm not sure, but around that number today. And they're all organically, they've all organically joined in. So it's something, when I look at it, I feel that, that is an accomplishment, that is a
Yep.
testimony to being consistent and posting no matter what. So there are posts which have 5 likes. And I'm like, oh my God, am I doing the right thing? And then I keep doing it. And then there's something with 150 likes. And I'm like, whoa, okay. I didn't know that would take, that turn. And those are big wins for me, Chris. They may be small numbers to people who have 100,000 followers and 200,000 followers or 20,000 followers. But for me, those are big wins.
Small and little wins are huge, by the way. And by the way, I wanted to do this for you too, by the way. Congratulations. That's a new little gadget on StreamYard. So I'm constantly
No, you just
trying to
messed.
keep up. Yes, and if you're looking to do a show like similar to this, I would recommend StreamYard.com. I've been with them for 6 years now.
Yes, I was looking at StreamYard and Riverside. So between the
Okay.
two of them, I was kind of trying to figure out which one would be better, cost wise, in terms of how easy it is to
Yes.
navigate. So I hope StreamYard gives you a 1 month free subscription for this one.
Actually, you can actually start StreamYard for free. When I did this 6 years ago, I tried
Mhm.
it for free, and I did it for a little while, and then I started getting better at it and then getting my advertiser. Then I went to a professional plan. But StreamYard does have a basic plan, and I can send you the information after a show, but they do have a basic free plan if you want to try it and see how you like it. And then you can go to a professional plan. They have plans for companies as well. So after a show, I'll send you the link with some information for you.
That'll be wonderful. Chris, I did say at the onset of the show that I don't know if I did, or probably I did on my Instagram story, that I did pass by Guelph on my way to Kingston. And
Okay.
I must say, I was in the bus, but I fell in love with your city. It's beautiful.
Yes, it's when I first moved here back in 1981, a long time ago, it was only 49,000 people. Now it's 170,000 people. So it's grown a lot over the last 40 years. So it is considered one of the top cities in Canada, in
And
Ontario.
what I liked about it was, of course, the Guelph University campus, which was
Guelph,
really
University of
lovely.
Guelph. Yes.
Yes. Am I saying that right? Guelph, right?
Guelph. Yep. Guelph.
Right. And the architecture was beautiful. I mean, whatever the bus route took me, and I'm like, this is gorgeous. The architecture is just amazing.
Well, and one day I'm hoping to get out to Western Canada. I'm going to admit this. I've been to more of the states than my own country. And now, without getting into politics, I want to get out to Western Canada. I've had a number of guests come on from Alberta, Saskatchewan, Manitoba, and British Columbia. And I definitely want to get out there. I actually want to either drive out or take the train. I don't like airplanes. I've never been on an airplane,
So
never been
that
on a
is,
plane.
oh, that's lovely. I believe the drive takes about 3 days, someone told me, and it's gorgeous. Also, the train ride, it's a bit expensive, uh,
But it's worth it.
but it's worth it. And that's something I want to do at some point. And you're right, Chris. I have made a decision, and this was, I think, for the last 5 years, that I would want to explore my country. more. I mean, there's so much to Canada. When you come to the West Coast, it's breathtakingly beautiful. We have the mountains, we have the sea, we have the lakes, we have the trails, we have the forests. It's just beautiful. So I'm proud to be part of beautiful British Columbia. Visit us. But even if you want to go to Alberta, it's gorgeous there too. And I want to come to Montreal. I want to explore the rest of Canada, which is so many different landscapes. And I'm so proud to be part of this country, Chris, that I do not need to go anywhere else.
By the way, there's one city I want to go to, British Columbia. It's called Nanaimo because of the Nanaimo
Nanaimo.
bars. Nanaimo, yeah. I love those dessert bars. So that's the one city I want to go to in British Columbia.
Then yes, that's on the island, and the islands are a different spellbinding place as well. They're gorgeous. It is my detox place. So whenever I want to get away from Vancouver, which for me is not like a hustling, bustling city, I've come from crazier, dense cities than Vancouver. But if I want to just get away from here, the islands are so magical, Chris. It's a different vibe when you reach there by the ferry. So yes, you want to come. I know people who have come from Ontario to BC. They're like, this is gorgeous. This is also very expensive. The gas is crazy expensive. Yeah.
It sounds like Ontario, because Ontario's not cheap either. Hey, if I do get out to British Columbia, I will definitely let you know.
Yes, please do. I'd love to host you.
Absolutely, because I've actually in the last couple of weeks I've run into people that have been guests on my show, and it's just nice. I love doing this virtual show, but when you actually get to meet your guests in person, it's even better.
And do you eat Indian food, Chris?
I've never really tried a lot of it, so I'd be willing to try it.
Okay, and don't mention butter chicken because that's not what Indian food is all about. Okay, quite the contrary to the common perception that butter chicken is Indian food. No, it isn't. It isn't even Indian. It's actually a dish made in the UK. So there we go.
I did not know that. And see, every show that I have a guest on or guests on, I learn something new every time. And that's what I love about this show. And I'm sure you do is with doing radio and your own show is the learning aspect of it from your guests every day.
Chris, I hope I'm not eating into your time, but
Oh, I'm good.
Do you have any three most memorable guests that you have had? Top three?
Well, I would say you number one.
That's charming.
I know you're number one. The gentleman that plays the Philly Fanatic, he's a legendary mascot with the Philadelphia Phillies. It's been around since 1978. His name's Tom Burgoyne. He's actually the second guy to play the character. He came on my show. Dan Schumann, who's the voice of the Toronto Blue Jays, he's been on my show.
Wow, that would be interesting. Yeah,
I've had Stanley Cup champions on my show. I've had a lot of great guests. I don't like saying I've had three favorite guests. Every guest that comes on here, I value them and I learn something from every guest. And that I've had a women's boxing champion on my show, Mia St. John's. She came on my show, but I learned from her. I didn't do my homework. I did a little homework on her, but she didn't really open up to me until the end of the show because I found a topic she was passionate about. And at the end of the show, she warmed up to me. So I learned that too, is to do your homework, prepare for every guest because they really appreciate that. And I learned from the experience with Mia St. John's now to make sure, never assume a guest is a talker. You make sure you prepare to do your homework. And also too, you want to make sure guests are talkers. If somebody doesn't like being on camera or being on air, don't force them to come on your show. You want people to be enthusiastic when they come on your show. You don't want somebody coming here like they're going to a funeral.
Yeah, no, I once they meet you, Chris, I don't think they'll be that way too. But yes, I get it. There are some people who just don't want to be seen on camera, and I get that as well. Have you ever had a situation where the guest is on of course you're online, right, but the lighting has not been great, or there have been other issues which have come in and
yes, it happens. It's happened, yeah, and all I can do is tell my guests nicely to correct it, or we've just worked around it. I had one guest, a former WWE wrestler, Jacques Rougeau, came on. He's a friend of mine, and unfortunately, he had audio background on his side, and I just got through it with him. Or there's been some guests where I tell the guests ideally ahead of time, please make sure you have a laptop or a phone that has good, strong Wi-Fi internet connection. But sometimes there's been guests, yeah, once in a while where the audio has not been great or their camera hasn't been great. I just get through the show. I've never had to cancel a show during a show. I just work through it.
Wonderful.
Now, Natasha, before we wrap the show up in a few minutes, I wanted to play a little video from your YouTube channel. Where can our audience find you on YouTube and subscribe like I have?
So we have on YouTube, I'm TBH, to be honest, with Natasha. And we have a couple of podcasts which are out, and I'd love for your followers to go there, have a look, see if something interests them. Even constructive criticism is more than welcome. Yes, so it's TBH, to be honest, with Natasha. On Instagram, I am Natasha Mendes. So I am Natasha Mendes. Sounds a little full of myself kind of thing, but that's what it is. And
Self-confidence too. Self-confidence is big too.
yeah, and on Facebook, it's Natasha Borges Mendes. So it's both my marital surname and then my maiden surname and marital surname. Yes, Natasha Borges Mendes.
And if you ever go on TikTok, let me know, and I would be glad to help you out.
Yes, the TikTok is, I believe, Mirch Masala Babe.
Okay. Well, we'll find you. We'll find you there. But I'm going
Okay.
to play your little clip from your YouTube channel, and I'm the audio guy. So if you can't hear the audio, we'll fire the audio guy myself. That's why I'm in media, because I'm not funny at all. I try to be funny. 1 second. We're going to play this little clip from your YouTube channel now. Welcome to TBH with Natasha. It's about a 1.5-minute promo you did, Natasha, and I think you did a great job on it.
Thank you. Natasha, now after 25 years of being on the radio, what if I told you that some of the most candid conversations I've had are actually off the mic? And that's why TBH, to be honest, with Natasha, is here. Finally. You know, when I was a little kid, instead of playing with dolls, my father used to bring for me mics, headphones, and stereo systems. That's what they were called. And I used to play with them. It was my calling for the longest time that I remember. And it's been my passion for the last 25 years that I have stuck with this medium. So I'm looking forward to bringing you conversations on women, men, parental issues that are difficult to talk about, addiction, and a whole lot more. So I hope that you will join me on this journey of discovering new people, new conversations, new ideas. And all I ask of you is your support by your comments, likes, constructive criticism. All are welcome. And yes, this time, this is very, very special because this is personal. This is mine. TBH, to be honest, with Natasha, coming soon. That's so sweet. Thank you for giving me the plug. I appreciate it.
I do that with all my guests, and they really appreciate that. I want my guests to promote them on here, and I just think I learned to do that a couple years ago, and I think it's a really good way to promote my guests, and they really remember that too. So it's just kind of a nice gesture for my guests too.
Thank you.
And you did a great job with that promo too. And that's a big thing too. You have to be willing to put yourself out there. And sometimes when I cut promos, I make a mistake, screw up. I have to do it again. And sometimes I can cut promos one time and that's it. But sometimes you make a boo-boo, you fix it. Yeah. And one thing I'm still working on, and I think I've improved over the years, is name pronunciation. Because I've been on some podcasts where the host didn't care if they got my name wrong. And that kind of upset me. Like, people do get things wrong, and I've gotten people's names wrong, but I've never done it intentionally. I've corrected it and I've learned from it. But there's some out there that don't seem to really care. And I'm like, professionalism is huge, whether you're doing this or you're on radio. And this, to me, this is going to be the new form of radio probably in the next few years, anyways.
Yes, and I've joined the bandwagon, Chris. So good luck to both of us.
Absolutely. And I definitely would like to have you back on the show again in the future. And if you ever are looking for a guest, I'd be happy to come on your show at some point.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Chris.
Natasha, before we wrap the show up quickly, what was the story behind the name of your podcast and some of your branding and marketing?
TBH with Natasha. So that's entirely what I'm all about, Chris. I cannot fake it, I cannot lie. So when I got into the podcast business, I wanted to bring stories that were um, without any pretense. So, to be honest, with Natasha, I kind of gave it a little bit of a Gen Z name, TBH, but it's also to reach out to both the generations to tell them that here I am with stories that you can relate to, that are real, that are honest, as much as possible, that I can bring to you conversations that are difficult to have, especially, Chris, when we talk about our South Asian homes, there are so many things that are not spoken about or are spoken about behind closed doors. And I think it's so important to share those stories, to know that you're not alone when you're going through life's struggles or challenges. And those are the conversations that I want to bring in, as well as some fun conversations on relationships, which again, some people don't want to have. So it's a mix of, something serious, something fun, but again, not
Very
people are,
diverse.
yes,
Very
but
diverse.
people are not very comfortable talking about it loud. So that is the aim of the whole podcast, and I hope I can bring that to the table. And for the branding, what you see, that's, I think, my caricature. It's very indicative of how I am on a regular day. I love a little bit of bling. I love my jewelry, and you can. I don't know if you can notice it, but that's what comes across on the branding as well. So that is me, and that is Natasha, and that's what you will get.
How often do you record an episode, and is it both available in video audio form? And where can our audience find your show and subscribe to it right now?
So we have it on LinkedIn, where I post my shows. We have it on YouTube. That is the channel. I haven't started putting the audio version of it, which I do intend to do as well. It's 2 episodes a month. And I plan to, I mean, this is it. I'm just kind of, um, getting into the groove of it, but I want to do 1 episode a week. That's the plan. And again, live stream it. That's the vision. So I hope to do it in a month or two, but I'm still kind of getting used to the whole podcast thing, because I also have my own radio show which is going on, on the side, and then I have my other commitments as well. So, but the intention is to have a live stream happen once a week. I don't know. Sometimes I think maybe I should have it weekdays like a regular radio show, but that is just a plan at the moment.
One thing I would give you as experience is a work-life balance. I, at some point, was doing 6 shows with 6 or 8 guests a week, and it was becoming too much for me because I want every show quality over quantity. And right now, I feel 3, 4 shows a week with guests is good because I don't want to ever have a show where I'm exhausted and I don't give my guests 100% of my attention. So I always tell people quality over quantity. And being by myself, doing 5, 6 shows a week is a lot, and I don't want to ever lose the passion for this. So you don't want to get burned out. And one thing I would say too, you can also, a lot of these radio stations around here in the States now, the radio guys are now live streaming their shows because they realize people are turning to live streaming more than the radio. So you could always in the future maybe live stream your radio show as well.
The only hitch with that is when it comes to music, you're looking at copyright issues. So it should be a
Good
show with
point.
music, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I guess it's more effective for talk shows than
Yes.
for stations playing music. Good point there.
Yes. Thanks, Chris. And when I was doing the morning show on Spice Radio, we had to have a guest every single day, almost every single day. And I would source out my guest, my co-host would source out her guest. So we would have two interviews, very short form interviews, about
Yep.
8 minutes long, which is long in terms of the in the radio world, that's a long conversation. But yes, it was a lot of work getting people to talk on the radio show. But then I think at that time we also had a lot of uh, PR companies who wanted to collaborate with us and have their guests on the show. And it was nice. I think I wish I could take that forward on the live stream, agenda as well.
What's one fun fact about yourself, Natasha, and the province of British Columbia? One fact.
Fun fact about me or fun fact about British Columbia?
Both. One fun fact about you in British Columbia, which I've never been to yet.
Fun fact about me. I love my food extremely hot and spicy. I mean, at this juncture, I don't want to say that it's just like me, but did I say that? So yeah, I my threshold for spice is really high. I've tried some of the spiciest chilies ever, and I think on one of the TikToks there is uh, there is a video on that where I'm trying one of these absolutely crazy chilies, and it's yeah. So I did do the dare. A fun fact about British Columbia, I think you have a trail in the backyard of every home, almost. So we have beautiful forests. Um, it's gorgeous. The landscape is mind blowing. So if you want to kind of get lost in nature, find peace in greenery, you want to come here. I believe in Ontario, there are some places where you have to pay and get in. There, here we have a lot of trails that are just free to, take a hike or go on a trail on. So yes, please come to British Columbia, where I think the food scene is better in Toronto, though. But for Asian food, you want to come to British Columbia. So yes,
Good to know that.
yeah, Asian food, we rock with the Asian food.
What's your favorite Canadian dessert? Have you tried butter tarts? Have you had the Canadian butter tart pastry yet?
No, I haven't.
You need
I
to
have.
try butter tarts. You can
I've
have them
tried.
with
I've tried something called. Um, it's available in Toronto. It's something to do with an animal, but it's a sweet pastry like thing with a lot of chocolate on it. I can't remember the name though.
Oh, you'll
Beaver,
remember it after show.
beaver tails, beaver
Beaver
tails.
tails. Yes.
Yes.
Yes. It's been around since 1978.
Right. So Beaver Tails was indulgent, and then I had to go to the Toronto Island. There is a Toronto Island, you know that you kind
Yes.
of take a
Yes.
ferry, and not
Yeah.
as pretty and not half as good as the Vancouver Island. Okay. I hope the Toronto folks are still on the show. But yes, I went to Toronto Island. That helped me walk off the calories I gained eating those very delicious beaver tails.
I got to do walking this afternoon too because doing media work, I do a lot of standing and sitting around. So I've got to get my legs moving too. But try butter tarts. If you ever get one, try butter tarts. You can have them plain with pecans, with raisins. I was a butter tart judge here last year and I had 17 butter tarts in a day. That was a lot of sugar.
Wow.
Lot of sugar. It's a pastry, but it's a Canadian tradition. But hey, as we wrap the show up, Natasha, now I'm getting hungry. It's called Ask the Host CDP a Question. Do you have one final question to put me on the hot seat?
So Chris, I know you love sports. So if I had to make you choose between your sports conversations and your entertainment um, personality questions, personality shows, or personality interviews, if you had to pick and choose either one, which one would it be?
I actually love both. I love doing the sports, but I love doing shows like this too. I love doing non-sports and sports, and I think it's just because I've matured over the years. Now, if you asked me this 10 years ago, 15 years ago, sports no problem, but now I just love doing both shows. And there's some, hey, I'll be honest, there's some days where I'm tired or I'm not 100%, but as soon as that camera comes on, my guests come on, my adrenaline kicks in, and it's just like a therapy, a medicine for me.
Wonderful. And when you finish with the conversation, Chris, what is the main takeaway that you endeavor to have from any
Just
conversation?
just a good storytelling show with my guests, and just for my audience and myself to learn something from my guests. Just a good storytelling show. And I realize too, people don't always have an hour to watch my show. So I learned how to edit video a couple years ago during Christmas. And I was getting frustrated, but I learned how to do it. And now I've learned to do 15-second, 30-second clips where people can just watch little snippets and get a sense of my show as well. Just taking pride in every show I do. I love doing this. And yeah, and yeah, just want to continue to grow and not go the other way.
Wonderful.
I was 5'9", now I'm 5'4", I think.
And that's why you need the phone book.
Yes.
To
So
sit
we'll have to
on.
do a show. You'll be looking down at me soon. See, you always want to make your guests laugh. You want to
Yeah.
make them laugh and not cry. But sometimes, hey, guests have emotional stories. Like I said, I just try to show empathy as well. So empathy and being yourself goes a long ways with every guest.
That's lovely. Chris, really, you're doing a fabulous job, and I appreciate you taking the time out to have me on your show. I hope your audience and you enjoyed this conversation as much as I did. Truly humbled,
It feels like we've known each other for years.
yes, and grateful as well.
Well, Natasha, I want to say thank you so much. It's the guests that get the credit. I'm just a host. And by the way, it feels like I've known you for 15 years because I just build a rapport with people and having good on air chemistry too. That is really important, having good on air chemistry with guests or guests coming on this show.
Yes, indeed.
Natasha, finally, where can our audience follow you on social media, website if you have one, and your podcast show again, and the best way of contacting you directly?
So on social media, on Instagram, I am Natasha Mendes. That's the handle. I am, that is IAMNATASHAMENDES. It's a Mendes and with an S at the end. On Facebook, I'm on the handle Natasha Borges Mendes. If you do a search, it's a lovely lady with a sari. That would be me. And of course, my podcast is on YouTube. That is TBH, to be honest, with Natasha. You can see the green icon there. That's an indicator as well. And on LinkedIn, I'm as Natasha Mendes. You can just search me. I'm a radio host and currently living in Vancouver.
And I will write you a letter, and I promise I won't use a typewriter or a computer, and I won't mail myself. I'm too big to mail myself. I'm too big to mail myself.
That's lovely. And yes, if people
Yeah.
want to email as well, if they want to be, they want me to take up any issue or want me to discuss something which is based on relationships or emotions or maybe even something like addiction, please get in touch with me, tbhwithnatasha@gmail.com.
And Natasha, I want to say continued success with your radio show, your podcast show, and maybe the next time I have you come back on, we'll talk a little bit more about being a voiceover artist as well, because that's something I'm learning to do myself.
That's great. Wonderful.
And yeah, give me a little time today, Natasha, and I will send you the full video, the audio, and reels and clips. And you have an open invite to come back on this show anytime in the future you'd like to come back on as well. And if you ever need, I guess you need some of my connections, I'd be happy to share them with you as well. Pay it forward.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Well, thank you. You're the star of the show. I'm just the host, and I'm very fortunate to have you come on. I was excited to have you on today, and we'll definitely, hopefully, do a part 2 again in the future.
Yes, looking forward to it, Chris. Thank you very much
Absolutely.
for making this morning absolutely perfect with this cup of coffee as
You're
well.
welcome. I can't drink coffee anymore because it was speeding up my ticker, so I had to give up coffee. But I like my orange juice, blueberry juice, and water as well. But when I do come out to BC one day, I will definitely let you know.
Wonderful. Looking forward to seeing you, Chris.
Thank you so much, Natasha. Have a great day, and we'll talk to you soon on social media. And we'll have all this ready for you later on if you want to post it on your social media platforms.
Wonderful. Have a great
Thank
day, Chris.
you too. Thanks, Natasha. All right, everyone, that wraps up season 14, episode 24, overall 739 of Live with CDP Sports and Entertainment Talk Show, brought to you by our friends at Barry Cullen Chevrolet Dealership, located at 905 Woodlawn Road West in the Guelph Auto Mall. Check out their website, barrycullen.com, for the newest selection of new and pre-owned GM vehicles, along with their great selection of EVs, electric vehicles. Their number one dealership in Ontario for EVs, or Cadillac vehicles as well. You can reach the dealership at 519-824-0210. Tell them Chris Palme sent you, or you can email them at info@barrycullen.com. As we wrap up the show, guys, I want to say thank you to my guest today, Natasha Mendes. She is a bilingual radio host, producer, content creator, voiceover artist, and now the host of her own podcast show called TBH with Natasha. So please make sure you follow her on Instagram, Facebook, and her YouTube channel. She has over 25 years in radio, and she's done radio media in 4 different countries around the world. So thank you to Natasha Mendes for coming on. And also thank you, the audience, for watching the show live stream on Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, Twitch, X, and Instagram, and hopefully one day TikTok Live. And I want to say thank you also to my audience listening to the show on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Amazon Music, Good Pods, and wherever podcasts are available as well. And as we wrap this show up, guys, I have part 2 tonight. Part 2 of Live with CDP Talk Show tonight by BarryCullen.com. Thursday, July 23rd, in a few hours at 7 p.m. Eastern, I have special guest Angie Does Sports. She is a Toronto-based sports media and content brand, and her name is Angie Does. And she will provide commentary, analyst, and debate with the primary focus on local Toronto pro sports teams, including the Toronto Maple Leafs, the Toronto Raptors, Toronto Blue Jays, and even the Toronto Argonauts, who I do some freelance media work as well. So Angie Does will be on our show tonight at 7 p.m. and also talk a little bit about her TikTok page as well. She's very passionate about sports, so I'm looking forward to having Angie Does on our show tonight to talk about her podcast show called She Does Sports. So we'll see you guys in a few hours right now. Again, thank you to Barry Cullen Chevrolet Dealership for advertising and sponsoring this show, and to Natasha Mendes for coming on as well. And look forward to seeing you guys back here tonight at 7 o'clock for another edition of Live with CDP Sports and Entertainment Talk Show, hosted by yours truly, Chris Palme, and brought to you by our friends at Barry Cullen Chevrolet Dealership here in Guelph. I hope everybody has a great afternoon, and we'll see you back here tonight at 7 o'clock for another edition of Live with CDP Sports and Entertainment Talk Show. Talk to you guys soon, everybody. Thank you.